Hey, is your pound cake always a bit dry, a little boring? What if I told you the secret to the most deliciously tender, buttery, melt-in-your-mouth orange cake isn't a fancy ingredient, it's probably already in your pantry. Today we are making the only orange pound cake recipe you'll ever need again. And I'm going to show you a slightly unhinged trick that guarantees this perfect look every single time. Stick around, you don't want to miss this, okay? Let's meet the all-star cast for today's blockbuster bake. 200 grams of butter, icing sugar, 200 grams of cake flour, orange, and 4 large eggs. Let's go to pre-game show prep work. Right, first thing first, we need a spa treatment. We shift the icing sugar to make sure there are no lumps intruders. Then, in another bowl, let's mix our cake flour. 30 grams of tapioca starch or cornstarch and 270 grams of plain flour. And include half teaspoon of baking powder. Mix it. Then in another bowl, we shift the cake flour and baking powder together. This is like fluffy a pillow. It makes everything light, airy, and ready for a perfect mix. Time to zest. We want a thin, bright orange layer on it. The white pit underneath is bitter and full of regret. We don't want that in our happy cake. Use a grater and try to keep it in the bowl. And now squeeze those oranges for every last drop of their liquid gold. Okay, let me ask you the question. Is there anything more heartbreaking than spending ages on a beautiful batter only for your finished cake to refuse to leave the baking pan? I'm going to show you my foolproof 2-piece method to line a loaf pan perfectly every single time. First up, we need some glue. Take a little softened butter onto the paper or oil spray and grease the entire inside of the pan, the bottom, the long sides, and especially these short ends. Don't be shy. Now for piece number 1, the main sling. This is the piece that will cover the bottom and the long 2 sides, creating little handles to lift up our cake later on. An easy way to measure is to place your pan on the paper. You want the paper's width to be the same as the width of your pan's base. Now let's measure our second piece of baking paper comes in. This is the final step in our pan lining masterpiece. Take your baking paper again. We need a piece that is the same width as the short end of our pan. The length should be enough to cover the bottom and come up both of the short sides. Now we just tuck this piece inside and covering with our previous first sling of paper. Just press it firmly against the side. The butter will hold it there too. You can see we now have fully enclosed seamless paper box inside our pan. Before we start creaming butter and icing sugar for our orange pound cake, crack 4 eggs carefully into a separate bowl. Doing this step first allows us to check for freshness and ensure no stray piece of eggshell accidentally end up in our batter. It also helps the eggs blend more smoothly and evenly into our cream mixture later, giving our pound cake perfect tender texture with any fork. Lightly beat. Alright, let's go to batter construction zone. Okay, to start, include the 200 grams of butter into the mixing bowl and repeat our softened butter for a minute just to get it nice and smooth. Pause the handheld mixer and always grab it at the side of the bowl into the middle and do it again. Be patient. Now is the perfect time. Take out your phone and click on the subscribe button of my YouTube channel. Click on the notification bell so that you won't miss out any upcoming recipe. Alright, let's go back to our cream butter. Look how cream pale like yellow color it turned out. Scrape it from the side from the bowl, and now we can slowly add the shifted icing sugar. It's time to cream them. This isn't just mixing, this is an arrow fit workout. We go for a good 3 to 4 minutes on medium-high speed. We're beating them until they are pale and fluffy, like they were seeing a ghost, a delicious buttery ghost. Do not rush this. This is where we trap all the air that makes the cake light and fluffy. Well, I'm going to fast forward this process for you. Now for the piece 3D. To avoid a gluten-filled riot in our bowl, we alternate adding the dry and wet ingredients. Mixer on the lowest speed possible. A quarter of cake flour goes in, mix until it disappears, and then half of the orange juice and zest mix. Always scrape down the sides. Be the batter therapist. Make sure no one feels left out. Well, again, I'm going to fast forward this process, or else you will be super bored to look at me how to mix and cream alternate of the flour, orange juice, orange zest, and beaten egg. Well, finally the bake and the block twist. Look at that glorious velvety batter. Pour it into the pan and smooth the top. Isn't it that satisfying? At the same time, please make sure you have preheat your oven to 170 Celsius conventional. Send the tray into the oven and bake for 20 minutes. After the first 20 minutes, okay, the cake is partially baked. It's time for the slightly unhinged part. This is a trick I learned from my sourdough baking obsession. We're going to give our cake a mohawk. Dip the blade in water. This stops it from dragging and with the confidence of a rock star. Make one clean, decisive slash right down the center of the cake, about a centimeter deep. Continue baking for another 30 to 40 minutes. You must be wondering why this act of seeming madness. This control card tells the cake exactly where to crack as it finishes baking. It gives us that beautiful, deep signature canyon down the middle of a classic pound cake. It's a little bit of sourdough discipline for our sweet, chaotic cake. Oh wow, look at that, golden perfection. The crack is glorious. The entire house smells like buttery orangey heaven. It's ready when the skewer insert into the center comes out clean. Now in fact comes the hardest part of any baking journey, the waiting. I know you want to dive in face first, I do too, but a hot pound cake is a crumbly tragedy waiting to happen. We must respect the cooling process. Let it sit in the pan for 15 minutes, then use those handy paper flaps to lift it onto a wire rack to cool completely. Go watch a show, call a friend, do anything to distract yourself, or probably check out my hankery.com/shop to shop any e-books or sourdough baking tools kits. The wait is over! Look how easy to lift out our pound cake with this method. Let's slice into this beauty. Listen to the gentle claps. That, my friends, this is the crumb we work for. Fine, tender, and perfectly moist. So there you have it. The only orange pound cake recipe you ever need. Remember the secrets: room temperature ingredients, icing sugar for tenderness, cake flour for softness, and the slightly bonkers but brilliant mid-bake score. Go on, you earn it. Go bake yourself some cake now. Let's taste it. Let's try it. Buttery orange. So light and buttery. Here's recap: orange pound butter cake recipe, or you can go to hankery.com for print-out recipe. If you have excess of oranges, why not try out this next recipe: how to make orange cognac jelly. So easy and delicious. If you enjoyed this, please give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more recipes and baking tips from my kitchen. Have a wonderful weekend.